Hey, what's up guys? So I had the pleasure of getting The Running Man on 4K Steelbook from Amazon pretty early. It's supposed to come out this last Tuesday, or I guess this Tuesday depending on when this video was uploaded, but Best Buy's website for some reason has it on next week's Tuesday, so I think that's a little discrepancy between Amazon and Best Buy. Either way, I got it yesterday, so I figured pop it in, let's look at it. I'm going to try and share some screenshots of the movie, just that way you guys can see, what I see. Obviously, the 4K TV, the 4K player, all of that is going to upscale everything and make it look better. And then photos from my phone definitely won't do it justice. But I figured, put some screenshots on there, at least let you guys see a couple of different shots of, like, I tried to get Arnold and all of that. That way you guys can see it, but obviously it's going to look a lot better in person on your TV than even what you're seeing right now, because you're probably watching this on a phone, and that's going to be downscaled from 4K regardless. You're not going to see, probably a huge difference. Let's get into the packaging. So this was a weird packaging, I guess. I've only seen it maybe once or twice that a company's actually done this before. Usually you get it with Mondo, where they have the clear plastic slip. It says Mondo on it somewhere. Maybe I know a lot of, I think Paramount and Lionsgate are doing this as well, where they'll have a slip on it, and there's some type of design that makes, the steelbook a little bit cooler. Once you take it off, you see something else. So those are all cool. This is weird, I guess. I'm going to keep the slipcover on here, but it's really not needed. So you get the, the original artwork right here, and then obviously you just get the back with all the information, everything on it. But then you get the actual steelbook, and I mean, it's cool because it's a different design, different everything on the front, and then obviously the back, you get the main TV that everybody's watching in the streets and stuff while people kill each other, or unalive each other, I guess. I don't know what YouTube's policy or whatever is on that, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. So the Running Man story itself was written by Richard Bachman. I don't know if anybody knows this. I'm sure a lot of people do. That actually is Stephen King. It's just a pen name that he used. That pen name came from a band that he was listening to at the time, and his publisher basically said, give us the pen name, just think of something. So he figured, hell, why not? Let's just use Bachman. And that kind of is what spawned that. I think he has 5 books that were published under that pen name. And I know he said that once he was found out, I believe he said Richard Bachman died of cancer of pseudonym. So that was like his cool little, way of getting back into just writing as Stephen King. But let's get out of the fun little facts about Stephen King or Richard Bachman. Even though, look him up. You might know him. He's a pretty big writer. Maybe you might have heard a couple of the books that he's done. But let's get into this. So, Running Man, obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you haven't seen it, is a small little brief synopsis, I guess. He kind of gets blackmailed or tricked or basically just screwed over into becoming a villain of the movie, and they throw him in jail, and then basically they give him an option of, do you just want to live your life in prison, or do you want to do the Running Man competition and kind of try and win your freedom? Basically, the Running Man competition is something, it's like gladiators, like how they used to do back in the 90s, but on steroids, and they can murder you.
From Gladiator Arena in Los Angeles, California, here are your American Gladiators. Ice, ice, baby! Jive! Blade! Do the thunder shake!
I guess that's the easiest way of putting it. And, obviously there's smaller plots and stuff like that throughout the movie that kind of help him and aid him in being a total badass into the movie. But I mean, it's a really good action-packed movie. I think it's one of Arnold Schwarzenegger, at least one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I mean, it also has Jim Brown, Jesse Ventura. I think Richard Dawson is in here. And then obviously more characters on top of that. You get all the cool gladiators, as they call them, stalkers, in the movie, that they're hunting him down, trying to kill him while he's going through, like, basically an obstacle course, I guess. There's different areas that he has to run through and make it through and live, basically. So, first time on 4K for this movie. It does have HDR10 and Dolby Vision. I really won't comment too much on the sound itself. I just basically have kind of a smaller setup, just a sound bar and a subwoofer and that. So I don't have, the 5 speakers all around me and surround sound and all of that. I will say that it does sound a lot better than the Blu-ray. I have the Blu-ray somewhere back here, but it's really outdated. The color tones aren't really that great. The sound isn't that great. I mean, it's just an older Blu-ray. What do you expect? It's nothing that came out, especially too since it's been filmed on film and not digitally. You know, it's gonna look a lot better on 4K. All right, well, let's just get into the picture then. So I will say this is probably, if it didn't come out this year, maybe if it just came out next year, right in the beginning of January, it would definitely, because there are some 4Ks that are just, they look phenomenal that came out this year. But I will say this probably is one of the top 5 4K releases that I have seen this year. You know, there's certain 4Ks that have come out, but this, I mean, it looks really crisp. The colors pop. The skin tones just look a lot better. If you've watched the Blu-ray movie, or at least the Blu-ray copy, it really kind of washes them out. And it does that to a lot of older Blu-rays where it kind of makes them that orangish like tint of a color. And it really doesn't give you a full color palette to, you know, skin tone and everything like that. Especially in the darker scenes, it really kind of darkens them out. And it's hard to see with all of the background. This definitely brightens that up, makes the skin tone look like actual skin tone. You'll see on some of the photos too, I'll probably post them either over myself talking or whatever, so that way you guys can see them a little bit better. But the color and everything behind, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger while he's, you know, doing his stuff, and even, you know, the big game show scene where they have everybody on stage and they're doing all the dancing and all of that, that just looks 10 times better. This movie in general is a really good movie. I don't know why Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies, for the most part, aren't coming out in 4K. I know we're all waiting on True Lies, even just to get a Blu-ray copy, but why not just do a 4K? But this movie, I mean, you're still going to see the grain. There's still, you know, movie grain in here. The HDR is not going to take all of that out, which I don't think anybody that likes getting movies in 4K from film, I don't think it makes sense to take all the grain out. You want it to look like a movie. You don't want it to look really plastered. I think that's one thing they did with, I believe, Terminator 2. Is just they look more plastic than anything, just because they take all of the film grain out, and it just looks really weird. But this, there is some film grain. I'm not gonna lie, there should be. I think it just makes sense. It's on film. But with that being said, they did do a lot of touch up, and it looks phenomenal. I definitely would go pick this up if you haven't already. Amazon, you can get it, I think, next day shipping. Best Buy, I think it's the same price, but I think you gotta wait until next Tuesday for it to come out. It's still in, like, you know, pre-order phase, I guess. So I don't know, either way. The weird thing too, I guess, about that, I tried to do the digital code, and it says the promotion's not available yet, which doesn't make sense to me. I've never seen that before. So maybe Amazon just released this movie early, and Best Buy's got the actual date where it's supposed to be released, and that's why the code doesn't work. Who knows? Either way, go to Amazon. It's the same price. Get this. I just pick it up. It's an awesome movie. It's gory as all hell. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger kicking ass. People's heads are blowing up. There's so many just cheesy, corny one-liners in this that are just so good. I mean, you get it from Arnold Schwarzenegger, so obviously it makes sense. That's what he does. But it's just so good. Like, you hear him and you're like, oh, God. Arnold, I just love you. But either way, if you guys picked it up, what'd you think? Wow, I really held that up there a long time. But yeah, if you guys picked it up, what did you think? You know, did you like the 4K? Do you like the movie? Do you like Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie? What movies of his do you want on 4K that we haven't gotten yet? I really think, Jingle All the Way definitely needs a 4K. What do you guys think? We'll see you later.